Let's start by taking a look at the Desktop SmartOffice Connect app. To launch the app, start by clicking on the desktop icon. Once the application launches, you'll start out at the dial pad. This can be used to dial 10-digit telephone numbers, extensions, or any other. Once the application launches, you'll start out in the dial pad. The dial pad can be used just like a standard telephone to make and receive telephone calls. Below the dial pad is a quick dial list so that you can quickly call your contacts. In the contact list, you have the ability to add additional contacts or even view them to see their telephone information. Under the Recent section, you have the ability to come in and view your missed calls, outgoing calls, or any other call detail records. The Messages section allows for you to start a chat or view any other chats that you've previously had. The Help icon connects you to a landing page with some additional training information for the SmartOffice Connect desktop or mobile clients. This includes quick reference guide or video tutorials. This landing page can also be customized for your particular installation. Below the Help icon is a Do Not Disturb icon. We'll talk about how Do Not Disturb works in a later section. Directly below that is a cog or a gear. This will allow you to enter into the settings area. We'll talk about settings in more detail in a later section, but here you can get into the About information, accounts, notification settings, sound settings, controls, or you can view the logs from SmartOffice Connect. The last button that you see in settings is a reset button, which will factory reset your SmartOffice Connect client, removing all information, including your contacts. The last thing we want to talk about in this section is the SmartOffice Connect button down at the bottom. You'll see in the example on the screen a green icon indicating that I am currently connected and registered back to the network. Now that we've taken a look at the desktop application, let's minimize that and take a look at the mobile application. I'm connected to my smartphone, and as you can see, I've got the same icon for SmartOffice Connect on my mobile device. By tapping on that, it'll go ahead and launch the program, and I'm immediately taken into the dial pad so that I can make or receive a telephone call. Starting on the left-hand side, we'll look at the various icons. The star icon is going to be your quick dial list. Here you can access contact information for frequently monitored contacts. The next icon over that looks like a little clock is your history icon. This is used for accessing incoming and outgoing call logs as well as missed calls. The center 9 button option is going to be your dial pad, which we've talked about. The next icon over is your address book. This will include both your personal address book as well as your company address book. The last icon is going to be your messages. Here you can view messages that you've previously had, as well as start a new chat with a contact. Up in the top right, your little picture icon is going to take you into the support page. The 3-dot menu allows for you to start a new message, mark all your messages as read, clear your message history, go into an edit mode, and access your settings. If we click into settings, you'll see things like account setup, incoming call notifications. You can go in and change your program settings, about information, usage, and there's an option to share it with your friends. Up in the top left-hand corner, you can see we do have Smart Office Connect, as well as in a green color. This is indicating that you are connected and registered out to the network. And if I do my pull down, I can also see in my quick menu that I am connected and registered to my Smart Office client. In Smart Office Connect, you also have the ability to manage your contacts. To do that, let's go to the Contacts tab in the menu bar. What you'll see initially is that I'm on the Quick Dial menu, and this is where we can start managing the contacts that are built into Smart Office Connect. You can see I've got a couple already added. Let's go ahead and add another one. I'm going to start by clicking on the plus symbol. I'm going to type in the name of the contact. I'm then going to type in the telephone number for the contact. Enable BLF or Busy Lamp field is how you can decide whether or not you want presence enabled for this particular contact. Presence will only be enabled for other users that are on your same phone network. When you're ready, go ahead and click Save. You'll see this has added a contact for Jennifer Sell. I can click into that and view the telephone number. I can call her, or I can send her a message. The other thing you have the ability to do within Smart Office is select multiple address books. So right now we're in the Quick Dial for the Smart Office desktop client. If I wanted to, I could also go into the my Office 365 address book. Later we'll learn how to synchronize with our Office 365 account, but here you can see the contacts that are already built into my Outlook client are now displaying here. If I wanted to, I'd have the ability of coming in here and I can do the same functions. I can send them or give them a telephone call. I can send them a message. I've got their email address. You also have the ability to enter in an enterprise address book. This is something that would be configured at the time of installation through the admin portal.
In this section, we're going to talk about the dial pad menu option. Here you can make and receive telephone calls to anyone you would like using the 10-digit telephone number or the 4-digit extension, depending on how you have it set up. For starts, let's take a look at making a telephone call. So the first thing I'm going to do is place an outbound call by dialing the full telephone number. Once I've dialed in my telephone number, I can go ahead and hit the telephone icon down in the right hand corner of the dial pad. This will allow for me to make or place the telephone call. As you can see, it comes up and shows that it's dialing, and in a moment the phone call will ring on the far end. Once answered, the telephone call will appear just like this. Here we have a few different options. I can place the caller on hold. I can hang up the call. I can adjust my audio settings. I can adjust or mute the call. I can add people to the call if I needed to do an attended transfer. If I wanted to access the dial pad to send DTMF or dial tone, or if I wanted to do a blind transfer to someone. When placing someone on hold, just simply click the hold button. As you'll see on Smart Office Connect, it does show now on hold. If I wanted to resume the call, I can just click the little play button and resume the telephone call. To add someone to the call, I can hit add. It's then going to take me to the dial pad. I would type in the telephone number and hit call. To do an attended transfer or a warm transfer, again, I just hit the transfer button. I can dial the telephone number and hit the call button. To return to the call, I just click onto it. You'll notice it did automatically place the call on hold, so I'd hit the play button to resume the telephone call. The X down at the bottom is indicating that I'm still trying to transfer this call, so I'm going to go ahead and cancel that, and you'll see it takes me right back into the call. The dial pad is so that we can send DTMF. So if you're dialing into an IVR or a meeting or something that requires you to dial additional digits after making the phone call, you can send DTMF this way. Or we could do a blind transfer, which is a fairly common task. Again, it just takes you into the dial pad and you can dial the 10-digit telephone number or extension for where you're transferring to. Again, once I've returned to the call, I can hit cancel and that will automatically resume the call for me. In addition to placing a telephone call, SmartOffice Connect also allows for you to receive telephone calls. So if I were to call into this telephone number, you'll see it comes through and indicates that an incoming call is coming in. I have the ability to click the answer button. Once I've clicked the answer button, you'll see I'm back into the telephone call and I have all the same options that we previously discussed. Again, to hang up, you just hit the end call button. Now that we've taken a look at the SmartOffice Connect desktop application, let's shift gears and look at the mobile app. As you can see on my screen, I've got the mobile app connected and displaying on my computer. Here I have the ability, when I first log in, to go ahead and dial a telephone number. I can dial the telephone number just like I'm using a normal telephone, or I have the ability of going over to my contacts and looking through my contacts and dialing the person that I would like. So I'm going to go ahead and click into Jennifer's contact. You can see I've got a couple of different telephone numbers. I can go ahead and hit the call button, and that will place a telephone call to Jennifer. Once she answers the telephone call, as you can see, we do get connected. I've got options for the keypad. I can place her on hold, transfer, add additional people to the call, or I can do an attended transfer. You'll also notice at the top of the screen I have the ability to mute the call, change it to my speakerphone, or if she's capable, do a video style chat. In addition, I have the ability to click the end call button down at the bottom of the screen to end the call. The next thing we'll take a look at is receiving a telephone call using SmartOffice Connect. When receiving a telephone call, you'll see it does come up on the screen and you have the ability to answer, ignore, or reject. When I answer the telephone call, you'll see I have the same options that we just saw before. I have access to a keypad, I can place the caller on hold, transfer them, add additional people to the call, or do an attended transfer. Again, end call will end the telephone call. The next feature that I wanted to share with you before getting into some of the settings is the Do Not Disturb function. As you saw in the navigation section, there is a moon icon in your menu bar on the desktop application. This feature allows for you to turn on and off Do Not Disturb mode. With the moon activated or solid, you are in Do Not Disturb mode. Any telephone calls that come here will route based on your routing rules, but to your voicemail box. As you can see, because I'm in Do Not Disturb mode, my status icon is red, indicating that I'm busy. So if presence was being watched from other folks, you would see it show as a red icon. To turn off Do Not Disturb mode, I just simply click the moon icon again. You'll see that it is no longer a solid color, indicating that I'm available to make and receive telephone calls. The next feature that we're going to take a look at in the SmartOffice Connect desktop application is the messages. As you can see on my screen, over on the left-hand side, I've got an indication that I have 2 new unread messages. If I click into my messages, it will take me into a log of all the messages that I can see. If I wanted to, I can click into a contact and continue a conversation with those people. In addition, if they've sent me a message, I can respond to those messages in the chat program. I do have the ability to add in emoticons. I can use the send button to send my message. If I need to, I can escalate it to a telephone call, or even review my history with this person, or delete the messages altogether. The next area that we're going to look into is the settings icon. To access the settings for SmartOffice Connect, you can do that by clicking into the cog icon or the gear. When you click into the cog, it will open up a new window for your settings. The first option in the menu is the About SmartOffice section. This is going to give you the version number as well as the build and when that build was published. This is helpful information when working with the Candy technical support team on any issues that you may be experiencing. The next tab down is the Accounts. The first option in the Accounts section allows for you to edit which username and password you're using when signing into the client. In the next section, we'll talk in more details about the Microsoft contacts, but you do also have the ability here to sign in with your Microsoft account to pull in all of the contacts that you have within your Outlook client. Notifications, you have the ability to set or select specific tones that you want to come up for ringtone or for text tone. So you can see if I click the drop down here, I have a couple of different options for ringtones, and I also have the ability to change the text tone as well. Under sounds, this is your sound settings for your computer, so which microphone you want to use, which speaker system you want to use. If you need to adjust the volumes or the microphone gain, you have the ability to do so here. In addition to that, if you wanted to change the settings for your speaker or your ringtone audio output, all of these things can be done from the settings within the sound area. Under controls, you have some additional settings such as launching the program when you start your computer. You can set it to log SIP traffic. By default, this is turned on. This is extremely useful when it comes to troubleshooting because it will log all of the SIP messaging in the logs that we'll talk about in just a second. You also have your incoming call alert mode, so you can set it so that you receive notifications and the app, or you also have notifications only, or you can just disable notifications. For setting it as the default calling app, you can do that within your settings. If I were to click this button, it would just open up my normal Windows settings area so that I can change the default calling app. Language settings, you also have the ability to set it so that SmartOffice Connect is always on top. This is turned off by default so that you can minimize the application, but if you wanted it always on top, you have the ability to do so. The next area we're going to look at is the logs. So these are great from a troubleshooting perspective, and if you ever open up a case with the Candy support team, it would be a good idea to include these logs as a part of your ticket so that we can quickly take a look at them and resolve any concerns that you may be having. To save these logs, all you have to do is click on the Save button. Find a location that you want to store the text file on your computer. I would recommend giving it a name so you know what it is that you're sending in. Maybe include a description of the problem, something like that as the file name. Hit Save. That will save a text file that you can then upload to your support ticket. The last button is the Reset button. As the message indicates, this will actually reset or do a factory reset of the SmartOffice Connect client. It will erase all your contacts. It will erase all of your call history, your message history. It's like you're doing a factory reset on a telephone. So that's important to understand when working with this reset button. It will do a factory reset on the application. I'm going to choose no because I don't want to do that. But the option does exist if you are inclined.
One of the other unique features that's available in the new SmartOffice Connect is the ability to synchronize with your Microsoft account. To do that, click on the cog for Settings and go down to Accounts. You'll see here there's an option for Microsoft Contacts, and using your Office ID you can sign in and synchronize contacts. To start, click on the button, then type in your email address for your Office 365 account. Next, it's going to ask me for permissions. I'm going to go ahead and accept them. And you'll see now the button says Sign Out from Microsoft. And it's indicating that I'm currently using my corporate email account. From here, what I can do is actually close out of the settings. And from my contacts window, you'll see that I now have the ability of going into my Office 365 contacts, which are the ones that are listed in my Outlook contacts list.